And we are live. Good evening, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gentleman of Crypto, episode 456. Today is Thursday, August 22nd, and I'm King, of course, here to bridge the gap between the community and crypto every day. And I'm not going to say 3-ish anymore because coming soon, we might be possibly changing the time again into not a set time, but more of a just revolving schedule based on when we're actually free to schedule it, but we want to continue to do the streams every day. So make sure you tag that bell after you subscribe so you get these post notifications, when we come on. But other than that, top stories of the day, which I did not change the title. I know it, I need to do it. But top stories of the day, Bitcoin dominance is actually above 90%, new research suggests. Cryptocurrencies used to buy illicit drugs, says White House. Japanese crypto exchange CoinCheck is considering launching an IEO. Patrick Byrne, cryptocurrency champion, resigns as Overstock CEO. And blockchain education initiatives are set to launch at California University. So a lot of good news coming out right now with crypto. What's going on, Richard? What's going on, Milto? I see a few people starting to load in here. I still see the lag, which means the camera hasn't automatically set and sync with OBS yet, but we're on the way. What's going on, crypto and culture? D. Sharon. Also, tomorrow on the show, special guest Crypto Blood will be in the house. If you haven't already checked out his channel, make sure you check it out. He has a lot of good interviews this past week. I know he has, Max Kaiser is on there. He has like an extended 4-part episode with Max Kaiser. And I believe, who else? He interviewed a few more people when they just had a conference up north. So make sure you check out tomorrow's episode. We're going to have Crypto Blood on. And again, check out his channel. He's been producing a lot of great content this summer. I've been seeing him 7 days a week. He's pushing something out. So it's good stuff. What's going on, D. Chiron? What's going on, Alex Daly? All right, let me see if as I'm speaking, I can actually change this title, which I highly doubt I'll be able to do. But next thing, of course, let's go over prices. We haven't seen a lot of change since yesterday. Everything is in the green today, but not by much for most coins. Bitcoin's at $10,163, up 0.87%. We have Ethereum coming in at $193.05, up 4.54%. Litecoin's coming in at $73, up 0.78%. Ripple is at 27 cents, up 2.74%. And Bitcoin Cash is at $311, up 3.46%. So again, not a lot of changes from yesterday. And I think, again, we'll continue to see this for a little bit longer as the prices keeps hovering around this $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 range. So until everyone can figure out if we're going to be going up or going back down. Yeah, I'm going to have to wait till after this video to change the title, looks like. So that's all good. All right, well, last couple people. What's going on, Eric Brooks? Try. You got to tell me how to actually pronounce your username. Is it try, CHNYC123? I don't know. D. Sharon said, I think I'm only buying Bitcoin going forward. So interesting enough that you said that. As I said, one of the top stories today, not necessarily a top story, but a story I wanted to cover in regards to the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance is actually above 90%. New research suggests. I had to click on this article. I was like, is this a clickbait article? What's going on? But the information in it, I mean, I get where they're going, and it may actually be true. Looks like Bitcoin's true share of the total market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies may actually be above 90%, Forbes reported on August 22nd. While mainstream crypto data aggregators have been pointing to a dominance level of about 70%, which, by the way, is one of its highest it's been in a while. If you remember during the bull run in 2017, we actually slipped below 50%. I think we were down to like 40s, maybe even 38% at one point. And that's when people were all Bcash is going to win and Bitcoin is going to die. It doesn't even have, the most, or it doesn't even have as high as the market dominance. Well, now we're back to 70%. And again, some analysts are saying it might be as high as 90%. They're saying liquidity must be taken into account, which I know for a fact it has not been when people talk about Bitcoin or any other crypto's dominance. No one ever talks about liquidity. Everyone always talks about this is the next great coin, this is the next great Bitcoin, or this coin can make you so much money in a short amount of time, or whatever. Everybody has all these glory stories of the next coin, right? But no one ever takes into account the liquidity. And they never find that out until it's too late, of course. Arcane Research, of course, who were the analysts, behind some of this, has argued that to get a more accurate measure of Bitcoin's dominance, liquidity should be factored in the equation. They write, and I quote, one might be able to sell one token for $3, but what happens if you want to sell 1 million? Without accounting for liquidity, market capitalization becomes a meaningless measure. Again, I fully agree with this. I'm not sure if it's as high as 90% for Bitcoin, but they're right. If you have whatever token you can think of, can you right now go to an exchange or even peer-to-peer or whatever? Can you go sell 1 million of them, 100,000 of them, 10,000 of them, 50 of them, whatever, for some smaller market caps? How much of that coin could you actually sell and have your money in hand by the end of today, right? With most of these coins, you cannot do that. And they're saying since you can do that with Bitcoin, that automatically increases its dominance. Again, something that after reading some of this article, I can agree with. They're saying they're using trading volume as a simple indicator of liquidity, with the concession that a sophisticated measure could be constructed for more granular results. Arcane Research recalculated the volume-weighted market cap of the crypto market, and its findings point to a new figure of more than 90% for Bitcoin, 20% higher than other estimates. It looks like the researchers conducted two parallel analyses, one based on data, of course, from none other than CoinMarketCap, and one confined to the 10 cryptocurrency exchanges identified by Bitwise Asset Management as having a reliable volume that hasn't been watched, traded, manipulated. Of course, those are like the Binance's, Gemini, Binance, Coinbase. Who else do they have here? I click on this article. There's a few other ones. But these are all the ones Bitwise use. Let's see if we can find any others on here. And I am not seeing it. So it's a link to the article. It's on Cointelegraph. But again, they're going off those 10 crypto exchanges. So the next, of course, headline was this RIP altcoins. Is this the end of altcoins? The researchers claim that such an eye-popping level of market dominance makes it less and less likely that other cryptocurrencies can compete with Bitcoin. Network effects, they write, are all the more decisive when it comes to money, where liquidity is everything. The study does end kind of with a caveat that says it is notoriously difficult to compare and contrast different projects targeting different niches. For crypto, one could argue that the whole idea of measuring the relative strength of different coins and tokens falsely implies a competition between complementary solutions. So again, that's another part of it. When you're talking about some of these different tokens, are you talking about utility tokens or for the United States, securities? Like, in what sense are you talking about other tokens? Because if you have something, I don't know, like just off the top of my head, maybe like Civic Key or something for identity management, then it might not matter the liquidity of that token, right? Versus a Bitcoin or a Litecoin or something. So I'm glad they added that in. It looks like, again, they did a pretty thorough research on this. And as I said, Bitcoin's already at 70%, and you do just add in a liquidity into the equation, I would easily give it another 10%. So with all that being said, I don't think it's RIP. I don't think it's rest in peace to altcoins. Just like Bitcoin, a lot of these altcoins have to grow. Some are only 3 years old, 2 years old. Some are a year old at this point. So the altcoin market does need to mature. And then also, just like Bitcoin was a solution to fiat currency, there'll be solutions to Bitcoin. We already seen it. We've seen Monero take off, Zcash, Cryptocoin, other coins where we always talk about privacy focus, since Bitcoin doesn't already have that feature inherent to it. So I don't think this is rest in peace for altcoins. But I do think this is another great bullish indicator for Bitcoin. Since you can actually sell it. You can buy and sell it, not just buy it and hold it for forever. Oh, Tiffany R from NYC. All right, I got you. All right, cool. Clarence said alts are pumping. The naysayers are wrong. D. Sharon said try to sell an ERC20, might take all day. Exactly. So that's the thing behind that. It's just some coins right now, people, you can't sell them. But I mean, in volume, but that's not a bad thing, because if you're looking at the technology, if you're looking at the project, and you know they're going to mature, everything makes sense, then everything should work out, right? All right, next up, cryptocurrencies used to buy illicit drugs, says the White House. Yes, we are doing this again. We are, it's crazy. You talk about the White House, our government. We listen to all these other reports and polls. Like, they'll listen to MIT on everything else, right? They'll listen to all these different things when it suits their narrative. But the moment MIT and other big research organizations who have a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? Research people. This is why I do need to say here. Throw me these words. A lot of people who do have that research, I can't think of the word, the professionalism behind where everybody trusts their research that's coming from, unlike MIT. When they say something that fits the narrative, of course, our government runs with it. In fact, that narrative could even be written into law. MIT said this place said this organization says this. These are the results we need to follow forward and make law and regulate this. But since MIT and other organizations have already repeatedly told everyone that cryptocurrency is used in less than 1%, and some even said maybe as high as 2%, but it's less than 1 to 2% of all transactions, all of them, not just Bitcoin, but all cryptocurrency amount for less than 1% of all illicit transactions. The White House just said, no, we don't believe you on that one. That's not happening. So according to them, the White House has issued 2 advisories to warn that fentanyl and other synthetic opioids are being purchased using major cryptocurrencies. Before I continue with this story, this actually might be the terrorist story we've been waiting for. If you've watched this long enough, one of the things I said from day one is like, Bitcoin's really going to be out in the open once they pin it to a terrorist activity, right? Once that bomb blows up here, plane goes down there, and they say Bitcoin was used to purchase this stuff, we couldn't trace it. You all should have to give us your public addresses so we can make this happen. Of course, this might actually be the terrorist attack because for those not in the United States right now or any country who might be dealing with this quote unquote issue, we have a drug addict issue, as we always have our entire history, even though now it's being highlighted because of the class of people it's hidden. But right now it's with fentanyl and synthetic opioids, right? This whole thing, the White House is fighting back against these drugs. This whole campaign, right? So I'm thinking this is the terrorist campaign because we've been fighting back against all these drugs and opioid addiction and all that. That's been the narrative as of late. I wouldn't even be surprised if I saw a president actually run for that next, using that as their platform. But now that we've had this opioid thing going on for so long, all of a sudden it looks like cryptocurrency is what is being used to purchase these things coming into the United States. Wow. The advisories were addressed to financial institutions as well as digital payments platforms. So I'm reading, they told banks, Coinbase and Gemini and Binance and everyone else who collects your data that, hey, this is our reason why we need you to collect more data on your customers. They're warning that the United States, quote, is in the midst of an unparalleled epidemic of addiction and death. Oh, hey, forget the crack era, right? Nothing happened to all the crackheads out there, right? That was not an unparalleled epidemic of addiction and death. I mean, there were gangs fighting for territories. There were drug lords coming from south, overseas, from Afghanistan, south of the border, from Mexico, Venezuela, all the way down, Colombia, of course, with the help of the United States. But this, all of a sudden, opioids, a bunch of middle-class people or college kids ODing on opioids is now the epidemic. And of course, as I stated prior, it is all because of crypto. This is the quote coming out of the White House. An analysis of sensitive financial data indicates that domestic illicit drug manufacturers, dealers, and consumers use online payment platforms or CVC, not Civic Coin, as we were just talking about, or Civic Key, to purchase precursor chemicals or completely synthesized narcotics primarily sourced from China. I left China out. White House again saying crypto is used to pay for foreign drugs. Quote from the White House again is saying individuals located in the United States search for fentanyl and identify potential websites that may provide the opportunity to purchase illicit drugs online. Foreign representatives will instruct the U.S.-based individual to send payments through CVC such as Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, or Monero. CVC for them stands for, I just saw it, virtual. What is it? I don't know. I mean, listen, people, they're making up a new acronym every day. I can't keep up with it. But they're saying the advisories also note that CVC transactions generate a significant variety of information elements that may be extremely useful to law enforcement. I need to find this new acronym. I saw it earlier. I have no clue. Oh, there we go. Convertible virtual currencies, because they're converting it. First of all, this, again, goes to show the White House has no clue what they're talking about. Our government doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to crypto, people. Not only is this untrue as far as illicit transactions are less than 1 or to 2% in the cryptocurrency community. Next thing up, the real criminals Like, they're not using Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, or Ethereum. Like, they got Monero right only because that's a buzzword. And I know they hate talking about Monero publicly too, because this is like the first time they mentioned it for like forever. Like, since its inception, this is probably one of the first or few times the White House or the government has mentioned Monero. They always talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, all this other stuff because they don't even want you to know about Monero. But I guess the cat's out of the bag. They know about Monero. They watched our show. But for them to say that Bitcoin, Bcash, Ethereum, and Monero is what's being asked for, but not a whole nother slew of privacy coins, I find that kind of hard to believe. As well as the fact that the timing of this. I mean, again, we just talked about, it's been this FUD campaign for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. To me, this looks like this is right on time as far as with the rest of the FUD. And even further, going to some of the comments on this article was hilarious. You can see them on CoinTelegraph. One person said, so is the US dollar. That's the thing I can't get over. It doesn't matter what's being used to buy drugs. Drugs have been around for forever, all right? The thing we always ask people when they talk about how bad Bitcoin is or what they can use to buy it with, the Monero and all that, we say, okay, let's get rid of every cryptocurrency today. There's no more cryptocurrencies. What are we going to use to buy drugs? What are we going to use to, money to fund crimes or terrorist activities? We're going to use the United States dollar, this thing that's been used now for I don't know how long. So again, for them to point, and a commenter said that right here. Someone said, in the pound, and the euro, and the lira, and the yen, and dots. They said, hell, even cars and boats and wives have been traded for drugs. Next up, the White House announces that people are using air to breathe, so precautions need to be taken. Let's see. Somebody made a great point here. They said, what would the U.S. government do if drug dealers, traffickers, and mafias move from the United States dollar to, let's say, the euro or the RMB? That I'm with. I mean, you're talking about getting rid of drugs. If drug dealers, if all the bad people of the world were to stop using the United States dollar, we would come down hard. If every drug dealer said, hey, you know what? From now on, we're only using rupees. The United States would just literally shut down. Look, we have all type of treatment programs here. We'd be sending Marines out to every drug operation around the world. We would shut drugs down until we collared up some of those, what's the one we got? Until we collared up those El Chapos and said, hey, you can either use the USD when you're doing your drug transactions or you can use nothing. All right. So I agree with this statement too, which is even, I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole corruption thing. It all goes back to money. They're not upset that drug dealers are dealing drugs. That's why they've been dealing drugs for forever, right? They're upset that drug dealers are now using cryptocurrency instead of using the USD to do their transactions. So yeah. And again, another commenter said, how did that alcohol prohibition go? Again, all these are just random commenters on an article. It's one of those things where it's not even hidden anymore. The idiocracy of our government is just being shown out in public. But again, the blame cryptocurrencies for illicit drugs. This is like the oldest trick in the book. Come on, this is crazy. Some of these comments right here. What's going on? Track PFC Wells in the house. Sergeant Crypto said peer reviewed. Yeah, thank you, Sergeant Crypto. I should have looked at the chats. When I was talking about MIT, the word I was looking for was like peer reviewed for sure. Richard said Bitcoin will rule for some time. New tokens and coins will have real world solutions in the future. That's why we invest for sure. Let's see. Tommy Brown said Reagan era. Oh yeah, Reagan, Nixon, all of them. I mean, come on, this is crazy. What's the show that they got a whole TV show out on it right now? Was it the FX show, or it used to be the FX show that John Singleton was doing? Snowfall. Snowfall kind of very quickly, kind of their first season, they showed how the U.S. was it Contra, Iran Contra, and all that stuff. We were sending money down for the people of South America to fight, and of course they were sending drugs back up to us, and we were allowing that through our CIA, and this is documented by the government. Cocaine Cowboys, right? Thank you, Cocaine Cowboys. Cocaine Cowboys built Miami. If you haven't seen that documentary, check it out. Good documentary. But those dealers, who are, by the way, free as well, they talk about how they had so much money, they just started investing in Miami skyscrapers and clubs and real estate because it was just too much drug money. But we didn't have cryptocurrency then, right? So again, it makes no sense to even say crypto. What's going on, Erlene Miller? Long time no see. Eric Brooks, what's going on? Eric said even Monero is more traceable than cash. Hey, U.S. government got logic. That's actually true. Monero is more traceable than the dollar. Makes no sense. What's going on, Tessa Hall? Yes, and the CIA bought cocaine to shove into low-income neighborhoods with cash. Listen, that's all conspiracy, people. Our government would never do anything like that. What's going on, Ryan Cooper? Yes. Christopher Ladd, Rick Ross, the boss. What's going on, Cryptonomics? Yeah, Rick Ross was a prime example, and he moved millions of dollars of cocaine without cryptocurrency. So again, I find that hard to believe that this is the culprit. But hey, narratives got to write narratives, right? All right. Very interesting story coming out of Japan, people. Japanese crypto exchange CoinCheck is considering launching IEO. Wow, this is the third time we heard about this. We heard Bittrex was the first one about probably 4 months ago now to mention the IEO initial exchange offering. Then we saw Binance come behind shortly saying they were going to do the same thing. Bittrex, of course, ended up not doing it, but now CoinCheck is considering launching it. And to me, I don't know. This I'm leery about IEOs because we all know this is like a get rich quick or get richer quicker type of deal. And it's also one of those things where, is your exchange in trouble? Like, why aren't you doing business as usual or becoming like Coinbase when you have a million different products and services you're offering? Even Gemini is going down that route, or they're trying to team up with Mark Zuckerberg because they see the big loss coming. But if an exchange is talking about doing an IEO, which of course is raising funds through utility tokens by basically sharing or selling a share of the exchange in a sense. But if they're doing that, like, are you cash strapped? What's going on? And if you are cash strapped, what's going on with your liquidity? What's going on with the money you're supposed to have? There's so many questions. But acquired by Japanese financial services firm Monex Group in April of 2018, again, get rich quicker scheme. You've got this during the bear market. It's pretty much been a bear market for the most part. This year we got a little bit better. I think it's a get rich quicker scheme. But CoinCheck hinted at its plans to establish an IEO business in a recent public announcement. Cointelegraph Japan reported on August 22nd. According to a report, CoinCheck has started investigating fundraising opportunities based on utility tokens, claiming that IEOs are gaining more global attention and ensures more reliability as a method of securing funds. CoinCheck said that it's targeting companies and projects that do not raise funds using tokens and already have content and cause to grow their business. CoinCheck added that the opportunities are being considered within the rules and guidelines of the Japanese Financial Services Agency. Again, it's one of those things where I get it. You're making a business out of it, but it's also a get rich quicker scheme because, if you already have a product and all of that, like, it's an initial exchange offering. If someone already have a product, is a coin going to pay the exchange to do the IEO and then they get some of the money back? I don't understand how this even works right now. But what I do know is that the shift is happening, of course, because the ICOs, anyone who runs any of those are, of course, being targeted by U.S. officials or U.S. gang members, should I say, as of now. I hate to even say that. But again, after the 2017 ICO boom proved to be a high-risk field for those looking to participate in the new blockchain token projects, IEOs seem to have picked up steam, according to a report by the block. As many as 12 major global crypto exchanges have announced IEO platforms in 2019, including OKX, Huobi, and Bittrex. Again, and someone even said here in the comments, IEO is a new crowdfunding source. This is what, to kind of holistically explain, this is what we talked about, and this is my beef right now with the United States pushing out innovation. And that beef also stems from a personal beef because there's some businesses we had in crypto that we don't publicize, that we had to shut down basically because it's just like, well, the government's saying this, even though there's no real rules on it. But this is one of those things where no retail investors, no mom and pops. If you aren't already wealthy, we don't want you here. That is what this is telling me. You can't do an ICO. Me as an individual, or the three of us, or our crypto warriors, we can't do an ICO for a good product or a good project. But because you're an exchange who's been now regulated, or you have this golden pass from whatever government you're in, now all of a sudden you can do these same fundraising efforts that mom and pops were trying to do to get actual projects started. Why does an exchange need to do an IEO that's already open? I could understand this if it was a brand new exchange. If Binance was launching tomorrow for the first time, if CoinCheck was launching tomorrow, if Bittrex, any of these exchanges were launching in the next 6 months or something, and they put out white papers like, hey, we're not doing an ICO for a token or a coin. We're doing an IEO for an entire exchange. We want you all to own a piece of the exchange. So similar to how the Binance token works when you trade, you can own a piece of this exchange, and every time people trade, a percentage of these fees will come to you in crypto of your choice or something, right? I can understand that. But to do an IEO for an already established exchange. That's what we said about Bittrex, and we were right because Bittrex must have watched this because like a day or two after the show, they canceled their IEO, right? If you are doing the IEO and you're an already established exchange, to me that is scary. Like, why do you need more money? You're making money off fees if you actually have real value and people are trading 24/7, and then you have everyone's money in your custodial account too, or you're supposed to. So again, I ask, why do you need to do an IEO? It is because it is a get richer quicker scheme. ICOs for some people will get rich quicks. This is for already wealthy people. IEOs for people who already have 10 to 20 million at a minimum in the bank account, probably at least 50 million when you talk about the stuff all the people you're going to have to pay off, licenses and registration and the government, all that good stuff. But all it is a get richer quicker scheme. Like, you don't need the money. And for CoinCheck to do it like within almost like what 13, 14 months after they've been taken over, to me that definitely says it's a get rich quicker scheme because a company took it over thinking it was going to be all roses. Bear market can't last as long. It did. They probably lost a lot of money last year from April to December. They probably lost a lot of money as that price continued to drop all the way into this year or early this year. And now they're finally kind of coming back around, but they probably still haven't made good. And they're like, you know what, forget it. Let's get our money back in one big IEO and then sell this thing again. Because that's the name of the game. When you have an exchange that no one really wants to use, you're holding a bag. Something that Circle found out when they bought Poloniex, right? So again, I'm not with the IEOs. It might happen, who knows, especially not with something like CoinCheck that's just been rebought back out. I don't even know what direction they're going. Binance were to actually do it, I would consider it because it's like, all right, you guys have a pretty big market share as long as you continue to do what you're doing. CZ seems to be competent. I kind of get it, but even then, I mean, don't be surprised when one of these IEOs actually goes through and then whoever the CEO or whatever the exchange is, all of a sudden dies like the Quadriga CX CEO, or he just retires, or he just goes missing, or a big hack just happens out of the blue where $400 million goes missing from the IEO. Don't be surprised if that happens because there's no reason for it. And it's just one of those things, that negative energy, it will come back around, people. Crazy. Yes, D. Chiron said exit strategy. This is Monex's group exit strategy. But hey, can't hate a player for playing the game at this point, right? Patrick Byrne, cryptocurrency champion, resigns as Overstock CEO. This is unfortunate news. He's been a champion of not only Overstock, but also cryptocurrency for some years now. But Patrick Byrne, a rare champion of cryptocurrencies among the heads of public U.S. companies, have stepped down from his roles at Overstock. Byrne wrote in a letter to shareholders Thursday that he was stepping down from the company both as a CEO and as a member of his board of directors due to instability and other reasons after admitting to a 3-year relationship with Maria Butina, a Russian agent, an alleged Russian agent. They didn't put alleged here, but whatever. A Russian agent currently serving 18 months in prison after pleading guilty to charges of acting as a foreign agent. That's a whole different article. You can look her up, Maria Butina. You see right here. This actually came out a while back ago. And I remember, I'm not sure if this is current with this letter that he just recently wrote or a few weeks ago, but after this came out, I know the stock price for Overstock dropped like 30%, which again, you talking about traditional exchanges, like the traditional market, that's a lot. But it looks like he will be replaced on an interim basis by none other than Jonathan Johnson. If that name rings a bell, that's because that is the current president of Overstock's blockchain initiative, BTC Ventures. So I definitely hate to see Patrick Byrne leave, but want to give a clap for Jonathan Johnson. He's the interim CEO, interim president, and hopefully in this interim time, he can prove himself to be capable of not only running BTC Ventures, but also the company as a whole, which of course, I'm sure if he does run the company as a whole, he would give BTC Ventures to someone else to take over. But the good thing about that is he's going to give it to another crypto enthusiast, right? So Patrick Byrne, while he definitely was a crypto enthusiast, we saw that. Jonathan Johnson has been running a crypto project for Overstock. So to have him in the CEO and to have him at the helm of this entire corporation now, I think that's a good thing. So again, in his 20 years as Overstock's leader, Patrick's vision for Overstock as an innovation leader has come to fruition. Johnson said in a statement, "It will be my mission as I take the helm to continue to build on Overstock's achievements and success." So crazy story with Patrick Byrne in general. Again, you want to look at that. That's Maria Butina, that Russian agent. And And I get it. It sounded like he still liked her too. I kind of saw some interviews with him or some of his statements. I don't know if he was still messing with her, if he still liked her. But what the United States is putting out is that she's been messing with a few people in some high positions. So I don't know what's going on with that story. Totally different story, not crypto related, but it hit one of our people in the crypto space. So of course we're reporting on it. So we'll see how that happens, how that works. Let's see. PFC Will said, what's being called mass adoption isn't real adoption. It's all the rich folks signaling to other rich folks about getting crypto. Hey man, look, you know what? Here's the crazy thing about that. I fully agree with you. But it's one of those things I can't even be mad at. It's so frustrating to see it because again, Bitcoin Zay and I partnered up in 2016. All right. And again, we had a totally different venture going on. It was going very well. This is one of the ones we were basically legally told to shut down. But in general, we try to tell people like, oh, mom and pop, retail investors, we're telling people left and right. I mean, you're talking about on the phone 14, 15 hours a day, going to go see people, going to churches, going to stores. We've been doing that everywhere, right? And people were just turning us down. But the crazy thing I found out is the only people who would turn us down when it came to business were literally the mom and pops, or the retail investors. All the rich people were investing, like no hesitation. They were like, new technology, what? Give them where we need to give them, the executive summary, blah, blah, blah. All right, we're in. Like all the wealthy people understood like how big this could be invested. It was the retail investors, mom and pop, who didn't want to. So when it comes to the mass adoption, I can't be mad. That's why I just said on the last thing, hey, I can't be mad at a player for playing the game, because right now is people aren't being interested. I mean, we literally have a system where you can control all of your money. And even now when we go talk to people or do interviews and all that, people are still like, nothing's wrong with the bank. Like, why would you want to do this? Isn't this for criminals? Isn't it that? So it's just like, all right, how much fight do you have in you? Whereas it's unfortunate, but all the rich folks are signaling to each other like, hey, this is where we need to be right now. And they're parking their money in it. As Brian Armstrong from Coinbase said, $200 million with a week or a month. It's happening, people. So it's crazy. Ryan Cooper said, yeah, I read this. This guy is all in the muck. LOL, yeah. He pulled an Elon Musk 30% drop. Yeah, that's crazy. 30% on a traditional exchange. Wow, that's crazy. D. Sharon said Tesla may get acquired by Volkswagen. That would be huge if that happened. He also says smart people can only relate to real opportunity and see it. That might be it. I mean, and that is one of the things we saw whenever we talk to people, and this is still to this day. Again, we're talking about mom and pop retail, people who definitely don't make that much money. It's not everybody, of course, but there is a large portion of them who just like, all right, what's the play behind this? What's the scheme behind this? Like, why are you guys here telling us about this if you don't have a stake in it? So it's one of those things where you try to explain the basics and the strengths behind decentralization and distributed technology and all this other stuff. People just don't even want to listen. They're just like, no, all right, what's your game? Like, how are you winning from telling us about this right now? So it's one of those things where it's tough to do. Again, I don't know, it's because of money that they have to, was expendable income. Maybe that's why. I don't know. I know that was one of the reasons for me getting into crypto. I was like, hey, I'm just going to stop going out all the time, and the money I use to go out and party with, I'm going to use it for crypto. So I don't know. Maybe it's one of those things, but I will say that, yes, the signaling is happening across the wealthy people already. And it's unfortunate, but if we continue at this trend, then yeah, I mean, the monetary system really won't change. It'll be a few 100,000 people who are in the crypto early, as in right now, it's still early, who's like, all right, let me get some of this, and they may change their lives, but by and large, it's not going to happen. You're going to see the same billionaires come into crypto, become trillionaires, and then you'll see the same people complaining. Like, well, nobody told me about this stuff. So, yeah, D. Sharon, correct. Pull up in a Bentley, then they listen. Yeah, we actually had to do some things similar to that strategy, and people did listen, which is crazy. And also, which is why like all the Bitcoin conferences have Lamborghinis and a pair of double Ds somewhere near the booth, right? I guess that's the only way people want to listen. I don't know. All right, but to end this day on a great news story, of course, blockchain education initiatives launch at California universities. There we go, Cali, lead the way. All right, let's lead the way on this. A VC-backed blockchain firm that helped create courses at Harvard, Oxford, and Cambridge is officially rolling out its programs at 3 California universities. Mouse Belt's blockchain accelerator launched Wednesday at UC Davis, UC Los Angeles, and UC Santa Barbara, boosting the educational presence at the noted U.S. schools. Backed by over $40 million in funding from New Value Capital, Mousebelt currently aids 65 student blockchain community groups at 14 universities worldwide. Again, this is great news. Bundled into 2 programs, Mousebelt will sponsor undergraduate to PhD level programs. The first fund will cover research across all 3 campuses, specifically for blockchain project development. Mousebelt has set aside $500,000 in funding, with up to 5 projects jockeying for $100,000 in seed funding. Again, that's what we talk about, putting your money where your mouth is. Mousebelt is also donating to 3 universities' engineering departments. The accelerator is hoping to co-opt the donations for the development of a general fundraiser toward university selected research capped at $500,000. Again, this is great to see. These are great campuses they chose too. UC Davis, UC Santa Barbara, UC Los Angeles. I mean, you're talking about undergraduate to PhD programs. You have college students who have nothing but time to focus on whatever research they're researching, right? Whatever thesis, whatever thing they have, they're going to spend 24/7 on it. And then they're getting the funding for it too. And all they have to do is hit a base. They don't need to hit a home run. Hit a base hit. Show us that this $100,000 in seed money can get us $350 back, all right? And I'm quite sure that amongst 64 students that are focused on blockchain and cryptocurrency, someone's going to come up with a good idea. So this is really good to see. It looks like also, speaking with CoinDesk, University Outreach Director Ashley Meredith said the program is designed to fill a knowledge gap in the university level system. Most universities do not hold blockchain classes, leaving student organizations to fill the void. She also said, we aim to help these universities become a driving force for innovation in the blockchain space, as well as provide students and researchers with the opportunity for both theoretical and industry experience. So this is my thing. Like, you talk about the United States government right now, how they're trying to crack down on crypto, crack down and extort ICO, people who did ICOs, make all these crazy regulations and come out on Thursday mornings and say that crypto is the reason or the way that fentanyl and opiates have been coming to the United States. Instead of them doing all of that and worrying about the precious USD, aka the Federal Reserve, what we could do is just donate to almost all the public universities out there, send some of our tax money to these public universities for blockchain and cryptocurrency programs, and let's get this ball rolling so we can actually be the leader in it and bring in more money. And to be fair, I would say that I think most of our government actually wants to do that. It's just those 5 or 10 people that own the Federal Reserve that, you know, the puppet masters who aren't letting them do it, which is unfortunate. But I love to see this. Dr. Muhammad Sadogi, head of Expo Labs at UC Davis, has been working with Mousebelt for the past year in various functions. He says student demand for blockchain coursework is high. He also told CoinDesk that his engineering blockchain classes max out at 65 students, forcing him to add a wait list and cut students. Again, we talked about the government now hiring people in the blockchain space. We saw those 2 job listings. We know JP Morgan are hiring people, Goldman Sachs, everybody's hiring now, right? Visa is hiring people in blockchain. Do you know the starting salary for some of these young adults are going to be? I mean, 18 years old, I'm going to go get my blockchain degree or whatever. Probably going to be a 5-year thing more than likely. Like you talk about engineering, it might even be a 6-year thing to be real. 5 to 6 years, depending on how much summer classes you do. But let's say in 4 to 6 years, you can get a blockchain degree in something or an engineering blockchain degree in a specified niche, and you're coming out into the open market at 22, 23. That is easy 150K, people, maybe 175K. And I'm not exaggerating, because at the end of the day, the class is already maxing out at 65 students. So there's not a lot of people doing this. I mean, and then by the time they graduate, there still won't be a lot of people who know everything about everything they need to know about. And you're front loading all this all into a college course. I think this is awesome news. Good job for Mousebelt as well as California universities for locking this deal down. Shout out to all of you all. That is pretty cool to see. All right, and last but not least, last couple of quick comments. Wirespark said, I've been telling guys at work about Bitcoin and to put some of their extra income into it. They're all into their 401k and not much else. Shaking my head. Listen, I understand. I'm at the point. It took some years, but I'm at the point now where it's just like I really don't tell people about it. If someone sees me wearing something crypto related, just overhear me. We'll talk about it. But yeah, I really don't promote that much any longer because it's just like I'm not going to just. It's an endless fight, right? D. Sharon said, thanks for the show and the plug for Billions. Been binge watching. Yeah, look, Billions is a good show. I love shows like Billions. I tell people I watch that. Shark Tank. Actually just started watching Westworld. Storyline, but it's a lot of technology components in it, which I like. And I also saw Continuum. I can't remember who put me on Continuum. If you're on right now, let me know. I did see Continuum. That was a pretty good one as well as far as the technology piece to it. So yeah, a lot of good shows out there that for me, I enjoy them because it helps with creativity, especially when we're talking about all this technological stuff to figure out what's the next big new idea or how you can use some of the already existing technology to make some of the processes you already have more efficient and effective. So definitely like some of these shows that adds that little flair to it. Harold George said, been telling my pops to get on crypto more. He only let me put in he let me put in 500 for him on Ripple. He's been waiting for mass adoption and regulations to get more bold. It is what it is. So and that's the thing, people. If a regulator were to come out, or the US SEC were to come out and say something like, all right, you all can buy cryptos, but you need to be registered with the government to be able to buy cryptocurrency or whatever, right? Like the same way you do if you try to buy stocks and stuff. You need to register all these people. How many more people definitely won't do it then, right? I mean, numbers will just become less and less, and then it'll become this thing 10 years from now where this isn't fair. You're not allowing us to do it. Like, it's like you literally sat back as they passed all these fraudulent laws and regulations where you couldn't participate in the market or compete in the market, and now you're suffering. So we'll see what happens. Yes, Ryan Cooper says, shout out to Deidre Ramsey for reaching out to Mouse Belt as well, for sure. Deidre McIntyre and the people over at the cryptocurrency group on Facebook, major shout out. There we go. Fool with money, what's going on? Madam Crypto said, I just started watching Westworld too. Also, plow. Yeah, and to be fair, the only reason like I used to never watch TV. I'm watching more now because I am in Hollywood and 24/7. You haven't seen this yet? You haven't seen this yet? You haven't seen this yet? I'm looking like the a-hole of the group because I don't watch half of these shows. So I have been starting to binge watch a lot of shows to check things out. All right, last but not least, Eric Brooks. We need small businesses about negative interest rates and that fiat bank accounts will be rated in bail-ins, Cyprus style, to pay for the negative interest rates in the U.S. Then they will wake to Bitcoin. Oh, well, that's the thing we've been talking about. We're just waiting for this Black Swan event. I mean, you have to remember, Bitcoin hasn't been around in anything negative in the U.S. market. It came after the financial crash of 2008. Since then, we've been in the bull market nonstop for 11 years. I don't know how that's possible, but we've been doing it, right? So Bitcoin hasn't even been alive for a real bad year in the United States. So what would happen if our markets really slipped? What would happen if we had another economic crisis? We have not even seen that yet. I think initially people would not go to Bitcoin. I think initially everything would drop, including Bitcoin, because people would just would think to themselves, I need to get my hands on money to pay for stuff. But as that whole fear and stuff settles down and people realize, oh, we created a financial system, whether it's Bitcoin or fiat currency, this is all man-made. Everybody calm down. You can go hunt for food and get water if you need it. We're alive. I think once that settling feeling happened, people will say, okay, it is clear we can't trust banks and government anymore. Let's put our money in crypto. I think after that, we'll start seeing that real big flood into crypto. So we'll see. We shall see. But other than that, that's a show for today. As I said at the beginning, if you joined late, make sure you're here tomorrow. I'm going to have Crypto Blood on live on the Google Hangout. Shout out to Google for that. I know you all are listening to me, so thank you. But yeah, we're going to have Crypto Blood in here. He's been putting out a lot of great content. And of course, he knows he has a better inside track on Veritasium and a couple of other controversial things that's been in the news as of late and some of these FUD pieces you've seen. So I can't wait to have him on so he can talk a little bit more about it and give us some of his insight. Other than that, thanks for watching. That is the show for today. Have a great Thursday, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheers.